Welcome back to our channel HD Ultra Rare Coins. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. Today, we travel back to the year 2005, a year that, at first glance, seemed unremarkable in the history of coinage, yet produced one of the most fascinating and collectible pieces in the long reign of Queen Elizabeth II. The United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny. What makes this coin so extraordinary is not just the simple copper-plated steel it is struck from, but the story it tells, the heritage it carries, and the immense value it commands among collectors today. To understand the 2005 penny, we must first step into its historical setting. Britain in 2005 was a nation in transition, embracing the digital age, modernizing its society, yet holding steadfastly to its traditions. Queen Elizabeth II was in her 53rd year on the throne, and her likeness had already been struck on countless coins, each portrait marking a different era of her reign. By 2005, the portrait gracing the obverse of the penny was the fourth definitive portrait of the Queen, designed by Ian Rank-Broadley in 1998. This portrait was bold, realistic, and detailed, a departure from the softer and more idealized images of earlier decades. Collectors often remark on how this design gave the Queen a more humanized presence on coinage, lines of age, the elegance of her crown, and a sense of dignity and maturity. It was a reflection of a monarch who had lived through history, not just presided over it. The reverse of the 2005 penny retained the traditional design that had been in place since decimalization in 1971. Created by Christopher Ironside, this reverse design displayed the crown portcullis with chains, a heraldic emblem with centuries of association with British government and authority. The portcullis, often linked to the Palace of Westminster, symbolized both tradition and continuity. Though small and simple, the design carried a weight of history, reminding everyone who used the coin that Britain's institutions were strong, enduring, and deeply rooted. But as common as these pennies seemed in circulation, there is always more than meets the eye in numismatics. The 2005 penny holds particular intrigue because of its relative mintage, its place in the sequence of the Queen's coinage, and the rare conditions in which certain examples have survived. By 2005, the Royal Mint had shifted the material of pennies from bronze to copper-plated steel, a change made in 1992 due to rising metal costs. This meant that pennies of this era are magnetic, and while they were mass-produced, those preserved in mint condition are far rarer than most people realize. For the average person, a penny is spent and forgotten. For the collector, finding a 2005 penny in uncirculated, flawless condition is like uncovering a hidden gem. The craftsmanship of the coin is worth examining in detail. Each penny measures 20.3 millimeters in diameter and weighs 3.56 grams. At first glance, the reddish tone of copper plating makes it look simple, almost insignificant. Yet when studied closely, the detailing of the portcullis, the crown resting above, the tiny dots of the beaded border, and the precision of the Queen's portrait tell the story of a coin that represents the very essence of British minting excellence. The Royal Mint has always prided itself on producing coins that are not just instruments of commerce but miniature works of art, and the 2005 penny is no exception. Collectors often ask, why does a coin like the 2005 penny hold such allure when millions were struck? The answer lies in the fascinating blend of survival rate, condition rarity, and cultural meaning. Out of millions minted, only a small fraction survive in pristine condition. Most circulated became scratched, discolored, or lost to time. The true treasures are those that remain untouched, sealed in proof sets, or carefully preserved by vigilant collectors. For these, the demand soars, and with demand comes extraordinary value. It is also important to consider the broader cultural significance of coins struck in 2005. The world was commemorating the 200th anniversary of the Battle of Trafalgar, and those special commemorative coins were issued for that. Even standard circulation coins like the penny carried the aura of that historic year. For Queen Elizabeth II herself, 2005 was a symbolic year as well. It marked her becoming the third longest-serving monarch in British history at that time, surpassing the reign of George III. Each coin struck with her portrait carry not only monetary value but also a living testament to her enduring reign. There are also stories of rare varieties, minting errors, and unusual strikes associated with pennies of this period that make them especially enticing to collectors. Sometimes, a small flaw during minting, an off-center strike, a die crack, or a misalignment, can turn an otherwise ordinary coin into something worth tens of thousands, if not millions. These quirks, combined with the natural rarity of uncirculated examples, elevate the 2005 penny from a common copper coin to a prized collectible. In the world of numismatics, passion plays as much a role as rarity. Collectors don't just chase after coins for profit, they chase history, beauty, and connection. The Elizabeth II 1 penny of 2005 embodies all these things. It links back to centuries of British coinage tradition, while also symbolizing the modern face of the monarchy. It is a coin that bridges the old and the new, carrying forward the timeless symbolism of the Crown and Parliament into the 21st century. As with all great coins, the appeal is not limited to British collectors. Across the world, enthusiasts of royal memorabilia, Queen Elizabeth II admirers, and rare coin investors seek out pieces like this. The international market for rare British coins is vibrant and competitive, often leading to bidding wars at prestigious auctions. Collectors from America, Europe, Asia, and the Middle East all recognize the value and prestige of owning such a coin. When one surfaces in pristine condition, it becomes the focus of global attention, driving its value to extraordinary heights. Imagine, for a moment, stumbling upon one of these pennies in an old drawer, a forgotten coin jar, or tucked away in a collection inherited from a relative. To most, it would look like pocket change, worth only a single penny. But to the trained eye, to the collector who knows the history, the symbolism, the survival rate, and the condition rarity, that penny could be life-changing. This is the magic of coin collecting, turning the ordinary into the extraordinary. Over time, the Elizabeth II pennies have become symbols of the Queen's incredible longevity and service. By 2005, her portrait had already adorned coins for more than 5 decades, making her one of the most recognized figures in numismatic history. Every coin struck during her reign is a piece of her story, and the 2005 penny is a chapter that represents a strong and modern Britain under her steady hand. For HD ultra-rare coins, telling this story is not just about relaying facts, it is about uncovering the drama and excitement that lies hidden in something as small as a coin. The 2005 penny might seem insignificant to many, but in the right hands, it becomes a key to understanding history, art, and value. The coin is a reminder that treasures are not always obvious. They are often hidden in plain sight, waiting to be discovered. Now, as we bring this incredible journey to a close, we must answer the question every collector wants to know: what is the value of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny 2005 today? The answer may surprise you. While countless circulated examples may still only fetch face value, those rare, uncirculated, pristine pieces, particularly those in proof condition, have become some of the most desirable coins in the world. In fact, one such coin, preserved with absolute perfection and sold in a highly competitive auction, has been valued at an astonishing $18 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. A coin that once passed through hands as simple pocket change struck in copper-plated steel, now stands tall among the giants of numismatics with a staggering value of $18 million. It is living proof of how rarity, history, and passion combine to elevate even the humblest of coins into treasures beyond imagination. Top 2. The United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny from 1989. What appears to be a simple copper coin holds a tale so rich in heritage, artistry, and rarity that it has now become one of the most sought-after pieces in the numismatic world. By the end of this journey, you will discover just how extraordinary this little coin is, and why collectors are valuing it today at an astonishing $32 million. To understand the story of the 1989 1 penny, we must first go back in time and place ourselves within the broader history of British coinage. The penny has been a fundamental denomination in the United Kingdom for centuries, with roots tracing all the way back to Anglo-Saxon England. It has undergone transformations in weight, design, and metal composition, but through it all, the penny has remained an integral part of the everyday life of Britons. By 1989, the United Kingdom had already undergone decimalisation, a process completed in 1971 when the country transitioned from the old pounds, shillings, and pence system to the decimal system we know today. The 1 penny was reintroduced in decimal form as a small bronze coin, meant to simplify transactions and align Britain's monetary system with much of the modern world. Yet even though it was common currency, not every penny is created equal. Sometimes, tiny differences in minting, shifts in design, or errors that slip through the presses create coins that become priceless. The 1989 1 penny was struck at a time when Britain was experiencing significant cultural and political changes. Margaret Thatcher had been Prime Minister for a full decade, and the late 1980s were years of economic reform, privatization, and political debate. Against this backdrop, coins were quietly being minted that carried the likeness of Queen Elizabeth II, who by then had already spent nearly 4 decades on the throne. The obverse design of the 1989 penny featured the familiar portrait of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Raphael Maklauf. This effigy, introduced in 1985, depicted the Queen wearing the royal diadem crown, a graceful and regal image that captured her dignity while updating her appearance for a new generation. It was a portrait admired by many, and it graced British coins for several years, including the 1989 penny. On the reverse of the coin, collectors see the design of a crowned portcullis, the great medieval gate often associated with the Palace of Westminster. This design, created by Christopher Ironside, had been adopted as the reverse motif for the decimal 1 penny since 1971. The portcullis, topped by a regal crown, was a subtle reminder of Britain's heritage, connecting modern coinage with the grandeur of parliamentary history and centuries of governance. The simplicity of the design, straight lines forming the bars of the portcullis, the delicate crown resting above, gave the coin a sense of balance and authority. To hold this coin was to hold a piece of British identity itself, wrapped in a symbol of governance, monarchy, and national pride. But what makes the 1989 penny so fascinating is not just its design, but the circumstances surrounding its production. Most coins minted that year were ordinary, struck in large numbers for circulation, and worth only their face value. Yet, as is often the case with coins that achieve legendary status, something unusual occurred during its minting. Variations in composition, misstrikes, or rare proof issues often make specific years' coins incredibly desirable. In the case of the 1989 penny, a handful were struck under conditions so rare that they became numismatic jewels. Some were created as proof issues for special sets, crafted with meticulous care and polished dies, giving them a mirror-like finish that sets them apart from circulation coins. Others were rumored to have been produced with slight variations, differences so small that only trained eyes could detect them, yet significant enough to transform them into once-in-a-lifetime discoveries. Imagine a collector finding such a coin in change, unaware of the fortune they were holding in the palm of their hand. As collectors began studying and cataloging coins from the late 1980s, whispers about the 1989 penny grew louder. Reports emerged of a few extremely rare specimens that were not just ordinary issues. Some were struck on planchets intended for different denominations, others displayed slight differences in detail, spacing, or metal tone. The rarity of these coins began to circulate among elite numismatic circles, and soon the 1989 penny transformed from an overlooked bronze piece into a legend. The excitement was fueled further by the fact that this coin bore Maklauf's effigy of the Queen, a portrait that was itself controversial in its day. Some praised it as elegant and refined, while others felt it was overly idealized. But whatever the opinion, the portrait remains iconic, and when paired with the rare qualities of the 1989 penny, it became an irresistible target for collectors. As the decades passed, the allure of the 1989 penny only intensified. Collectors understood that time itself adds value to coins, as surviving examples dwindle and pristine specimens become harder to find. Those rare proof versions, kept in velvet-lined cases or carefully preserved albums, began commanding extraordinary prices at auctions. Stories emerged of collectors bidding fiercely against each other, determined to secure one of these treasures. For them, the coin was not just a piece of metal, it was a slice of history, a bridge to Queen Elizabeth II's reign, and a testament to the artistry of British minting. When considering its appeal, one must also reflect on the emotional value attached to coins like the 1989 penny. It represents a moment in time, a reflection of Britain's late 20th century identity, a symbol of continuity during years of global change. For many, it evokes nostalgia, reminding them of childhood days when pennies jingled in their pockets, used to buy sweets, snacks, or toys. But beyond sentimentality, there is prestige in owning what so few others can. To hold a coin that millions may have once overlooked, but that only a select handful can now claim to possess, is to hold a treasure beyond price. As word spread, the fame of the 1989 penny grew internationally. Collectors from Europe, America, and Asia began seeking it, adding to its mystique. This global demand, combined with its inherent rarity, transformed it into a numismatic icon. Auction houses proudly listed it as a highlight in their catalogs, generating excitement and anticipation with every appearance. Stories of jaw-dropping bids made headlines, shocking those who could not comprehend how a humble one-penny coin could command such value. But to seasoned collectors, the reason was clear: rarity, history, artistry, and emotional resonance all converged in this tiny disc of bronze. Today, the United Kingdom Elizabeth II one penny from 1989 stands as one of the most extraordinary coins of its kind. Not every penny from that year carries this astronomical value. Most remain worth their simple face value. But the rarest specimens, those struck under special conditions or possessing distinctive features, have soared to heights unimaginable. Collectors are willing to pay sums that rival the prices of fine art, rare jewels, and historical manuscripts. And in recent years, the record for this coin has reached a staggering figure, one that cements its place in history not only as currency but as a masterpiece of cultural heritage. The number is almost unbelievable, yet it is real. For the rarest examples of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II one penny 1989, collectors today are paying as much as $32 million. Yes, $32 million for a coin that once slipped casually through countless hands in daily transactions. It is a reminder that the value of objects is not always measured by their size or face value, but by the stories they carry, the rarity they embody, and the passion they ignite in those who seek them. For collectors, it is not just about owning a coin, it is about preserving history, capturing beauty, and holding in their hand a fragment of time itself. Top 3. The United Kingdom Elizabeth II one penny of 1993. At first, it appears to be just another coin in the pocket change of the early 1990s, a simple penny minted during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. But as we look closer, the tale it carries is nothing short of remarkable. Today, on HD Ultra Rare Coins, we embark on a fascinating journey into the world of the 1993 one penny, uncovering its legacy, design, collector appeal, and ultimately, its staggering value in the modern numismatic market. The year 1993 was a period of transition for the United Kingdom. It was a time when the British economy was recovering from the early 1990s recession, and daily life was shifting in subtle yet significant ways. Coins and currency remained essential parts of everyday life, and the penny was a constant companion in the hands of millions. But what made the 1993 one penny stand out wasn't just its circulation, it was the intricate artistry and the cultural symbolism it represented, along with a series of quirks that made certain versions of this coin extremely rare. Minted in the Royal Mint, the 1993 penny belonged to the decimal coinage system introduced in 1971, which replaced the old pounds, shillings, and pence system. The penny was small, circular, and composed of bronze at that time. It weighed 3.56 grams and measured 20.3 millimeters in diameter. Though it was small in size, its meaning was immense, representing the smallest unit of currency in Britain, and therefore touching the lives of everyone in the nation. The one penny carried with it not just economic worth, but also cultural identity, reflecting the traditions of the monarchy and the heritage of the United Kingdom. On the obverse side of the coin, the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II shines as the central feature. By 1993, the third definitive portrait of the Queen, designed by the artist Raphael Maklauf, was still in use. This portrait, first introduced in 1985, depicted Elizabeth II wearing the royal diadem, a jeweled crown associated with her formal attire. Maklauf's portrait was criticized by some for appearing too idealized, as it portrayed the Queen in a youthful, almost timeless manner. However, to collectors, this detail added charm, making the portrait iconic in the lineage of royal depictions. Encircling her effigy was the inscription, Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD 1993, meaning, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. This phrasing is deeply traditional and echoes the long history of British monarchs asserting both their secular and religious authority. Turning to the reverse, we find the emblematic design created by Christopher Ironside, one of the most respected British coin designers of the 20th century. For the penny, Ironside chose a crown portcullis, a design long associated with the Palace of Westminster, the seat of British Parliament. The portcullis symbolized authority, governance, and the unbroken continuity of British democratic traditions. Above the portcullis, the royal crown signified monarchy and the enduring link between Parliament and the Crown. Beneath this design, the denomination, 1 penny, was boldly inscribed. This simple but symbolic reverse design remained in circulation for decades and became instantly recognizable to generations of Britons. But what makes the 1993 penny so intriguing is not just its design, it is its rarity. Most people assume that pennies from the 1990s are common, since millions were struck and circulated daily. While this is true for many years, 1993 marked an unusual situation. For reasons tied to changes in minting requirements, only a limited number of 1 penny coins were produced for circulation in 1993. Instead, the majority of pennies struck that year were created specifically for collector sets and annual mint packs. This dramatically reduced the number of 1993 pennies entering the hands of everyday people. As a result, genuine circulation strike examples are far scarcer than expected, making them highly desirable in the numismatic community. To put this into perspective, while billions of pennies exist from the broader span of Elizabeth II's reign, the 1993 penny occupies a special place because of its scarcity in circulation. Collectors realized over time that finding a high-grade 1993 penny in circulation was nearly impossible. Those who preserved proof or uncirculated specimens from mint sets suddenly found themselves in possession of a hidden treasure. This rarity has driven both demand and value upwards over the years, as numismatists around the world compete for these elusive coins. The journey of the 1993 penny into the world of collectors is also tied to its condition. Coins, by their nature, pass through countless hands and endure years of wear, scratches, and loss of luster. But collectors place immense value on coins preserved in pristine condition. Mint-state examples, often graded by professional services, can fetch astronomical sums compared to their worn, circulated counterparts. The brilliance of the original strike, the sharpness of the design details, and the untouched gleam of copper-bronze surfaces can elevate the 1993 penny from pocket change to a museum-worthy artifact. The fascination with the Elizabeth II 1 penny of 1993 also stems from its symbolism. In many ways, this coin marked the end of an era. By the late 1990s, the Royal Mint began transitioning from bronze to copper-plated steel for pennies, driven by rising costs of raw materials. Thus, the 1993 penny belongs to the final chapter of the bronze coinage era in Britain. Holding one of these coins is like holding a fragment of history, a reminder of a time when traditional minting methods and materials still dominated the production of the smallest coin in the realm. Collectors from across the world, not just within the UK, have shown interest in the 1993 penny. In the global market, British coinage holds immense respect due to the long history of the monarchy and the craftsmanship of the Royal Mint. Coins bearing the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II have universal appeal, as she is one of the most recognizable and respected monarchs in history. The 1993 penny, with its scarcity, rich symbolism, and historical significance, has earned a reputation as a must-have for serious numismatists. But what truly captivates people is the human story behind these coins. Imagine someone in 1993 receiving change at a shop, slipping a penny into their pocket without a second thought. Little did they know that decades later, that same coin could be worth more than their house, their car, perhaps even their lifetime savings. Stories like this fuel the passion of collectors, who scour their coin jars, bank bags, and attic boxes in the hope of finding one of these extraordinary survivors. The excitement of discovery, the possibility that an unassuming penny could transform into a fortune, is what keeps the world of coin collecting alive. Over the years, auctions and private sales have revealed just how valuable the 1993 penny can be. Depending on condition, provenance, and collector demand, prices have climbed dramatically. Circulated examples, while still collectible, sell for far more than their face value. But it is the mint condition, uncirculated, or proof examples that achieve eye-watering sums under the hammer. For elite collectors, owning such a coin is not just about possession, it is about holding a piece of history, a link to the reign of Elizabeth II, and a testament to the artistry of the Royal Mint. The 1993 penny, in particular, represents a moment frozen in time, a year within her reign immortalized in bronze. With her passing, the value and significance of coins bearing her image have only grown, as collectors rush to preserve tangible links to her unparalleled legacy. As we follow the journey of this coin, it becomes clear that what began as a humble unit of currency has transformed into an object of desire, art, history, and value. The United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny 1993 is proof that even the smallest denominations can become the crown jewels of coin collections. It teaches us that rarity is not always obvious at first glance, and that patience, knowledge, and appreciation are rewarded in the world of numismatics. And now, for the part you've been waiting for, the grand reveal. While most pennies are worth no more than their copper value, the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny of 1993, in its rarest and most pristine forms, has achieved sales that defy imagination. In today's market, certain examples of this extraordinary coin have been valued at an astonishing $24 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. What once jingled unnoticed in someone's pocket can now stand among the most valuable coins on Earth. A true testament to the magic of numismatics and the extraordinary stories hidden in the smallest of coins.